Hello, my name is Salim, and I thought I'd make a quick video just pointing out some stuff in Clip Studio Paint that I find very useful that you may or may not know about. So, yeah, if you guys know of any other tips or anything like that, feel free to leave a comment. Yes, yippee. Here I'm just naming anything I can think of that I wish I knew while drawing. Yes, thank you. Some artists might have an outline on their highlights. Sometimes they draw it in manually, but if you're wondering how to do it quickly, there is this option called border effect in Clip Studio Paint, which creates an outline. It's usually white by default. You can change the color, and yeah, hopefully that's a useful tip for anyone that was wondering how artists do that. This can be very useful for drawing little emoticons, like little filters, kind of like on Snapchat, or this can also be very useful for drawing hair strands, extra hair strands. You may need to do a little bit more cleanup, but yeah, there you go. Next up, there's this effect called ripple, which is quite useful. I believe there's also one called wave that works similarly. But basically, what it does is create these wonky effect, which is perfect for water effects. So yeah, you can do stuff like this. It takes a bit more cleanup and a bit more adjustments, so this is very rough, but it would look something like this. So it'll save you some time for manually painting certain reflections and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully that's something you find useful if you like doing watery kind of things. Yes. Sometimes you might have a tail behind your drawing for your character, or it could be a weapon. This part might be helpful. Some people don't know about this, but once you draw that layer, for example here the tail, you can make a clipping layer. So I made the whole tail white and I lowered the opacity a bit. I kept the layer mode to normal. Feel free to mess around with that, but that's how that's done. It's pretty simple. Alright, so next up, have you ever had a little dot, or this is very exaggerated, but have you ever had a little dot or something on the canvas that you can't find the layer it's on? You go through each layer, it takes you forever to find it. Well, here's a very quick and easy way to deal with that. So there's this eraser tool called multiple erase, and basically it just erases everything on every single layer. So there you go. That's a very quick way to get rid of a little dot outside the canvas or some like that. So there you go. Very useful. Just be very careful because it can erase everything. This is a commission here as an example, a commission I did for Ifra, but have you ever maybe drawn something and you really like how it looks and you're like, wow, I do wonder how this would look like on a hoodie or on a piece of merch if it was black and white, but sadly I've rendered it and colored it and that would take so much time. Well, there is this effect called binarization. I think I'm saying that right. It's not the best tool, but it's not like you can use it, you can adjust it a bit and then, I don't know, clean it up on a whole separate maybe Clip Studio Paint file, and boom, there you go, you have yourself a little like black and white design. There you go. Doesn't require you to redraw things, doesn't require you to redo line art. It's pretty useful. Here I used the same piece for an example, but there's also this effect called level correction. It's kind of similar to tone curve. You may know what tone curve is, but I feel like it's a bit more simplified and kind of easier to use. So yeah, it's good for example, here quickly I just showcased, I pretty much made the like darker colors pop a bit more, and yeah, it's pretty useful. It's actually, I think it's a lot more simple to use than tone curve, and there you go, you may not have known about it or used it before. Now I've brought this tip up in a YouTube short before and I use this all the time. It's a filter called under correction called adjust line width. Speaks for itself. You can adjust the width of the line. You can make it thinner or you can make it thicker. For example, here I just did a quick little outline of the leg to show you what it's like. So yeah, maybe you don't like how you did a certain type of line art. Maybe you think you made your line art too thick. So yeah, there you go. You'll find a use for it, trust me. Now here's a quick little tip. So if you're drawing on certain layers, as you know, you may have a bunch of clipping layers for like hair and other things like that. If you really don't want to use clipping layers for some reason, or you just don't, you know what I mean, you don't want to lose track of them and they get a bit annoying, what you can do is on the main layer that you want to make sure you stay within, hold control over the square where you can kind of see the image, you know what I mean, and click it once and it'll auto select whatever you've already colored on that layer. So that way you can just make another separate layer on top or anywhere else and just boom, there you go, you can just color on that. It might be easier for you to do things like that because I do that sometimes. So yeah. And now this is my final tip, because surprisingly a lot of people don't know that you can do this in Clip Studio Paint, but you can color code your layers and it's pretty simple. As you can see, you just click that little icon up there, whatever layer you have selected will turn to that color. You can do advanced colors and stuff if you wish, but yeah, I don't use this all too often. I'd mostly use this to mark an important layer or a layer I don't want to mess with. For example, in this file, as you can see, there's a yellow marking and it was for the tail because I had a little bit of a blue kind of like bounce lighting and I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally paint on top of that. So yeah, I use it for stuff like that, or to mark something like, hey, don't delete this, or something like that. Usually I'll use red for something like that where it's like, don't delete this, it's important. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you could subscribe or leave a like, or feel free to leave a comment if you have any tips, or I don't know, maybe you'll teach me something, or maybe someone will see your comment and be like, oh, that's pretty smart, or something like that. So feel free to leave a comment. We all love learning new things. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. If you could support me, I would be very grateful. So yeah, bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a happy new year too. So